The town of Farmingdale is under Zeds' attack. Deputy Schmidt managed to repel a Zeds mob approaching downtown. But the ammo level is now running low. Sheriff Hunt has been healed at the hospital and may return soon. He is sorely needed. And the fire department auxiliaries were successful in breaking up a dangerous Zeds mob approaching from the suspension bridge. So far, all Zeds attacks near the town have failed. But for how long can the people of Farmingdale hold out? Raiders arrive. We place the Raiders unit in the start space of the track with the most chaos. They move one space per turn. If they reach town center, we lose their strength value in both supplies and ammo. The track with the most chaos is the suburbs track. The Raiders are set to go. And now we move Raiders and refugees. The Raiders advance on the suburbs track. The refugees at Lefty's Pass move into the Lucky Strike Mine. Now time to check for infection. The level is 8 and the roll is 4. A breakout occurs. This time it occurs on the highway. At the nuclear plant, a new Zeds unit with a strength of 4 appears. The infection level now goes down to 4. Meanwhile, we save this card, Grim Determination at Last Stand. That will change an adverse combat result into a Zeds retreat after they suffer one hit. To the eat phase, and we must roll. There's no refugees in the refugee camp, but there are 3 units in the hospital. The roll is a 5. No supplies are lost this time. To the Zeds phase, and there's movement in the suburbs and forest tracks. The toxic Zeds advance into suburbia to fight it out with the fire department auxiliaries. The auxiliaries have an ability, Fire Axe Trained, which gives them a column shift to the right in hand-to-hand combat, so the odds are equal. Both sides suffer 2 hits, and the Zeds must retreat. The auxiliaries are eliminated, but their saving die roll gives them a chance to appear at the hospital in unconscious state. To do that, 1 civilian's unit is disconnected and sent to the cemetery. The auxiliaries are now in comatose condition at the hospital. Because this hand-to-hand combat occurred with toxic Zeds, the level of infection increases to 8. Remaining Zeds in the suburbs advance, forming a new Zeds mob at the suspension bridge, and the brain-powered Super Zeds not far behind. Left on the suburbs track is a Zeds unit that moves into the university, and close behind are those nasty raiders. In the forest track, the soul-battered Zeds unit advances into the mall district. Colonel Kingman, using his defensive perimeter ability, manages to push that soul unit back to where it came from. The Zeds mob behind has to split, and only one of its units joins the battered Zeds. The rest of the units advance, and now there are 2 Zeds mobs nearing the mall district. We receive one event action, but first we play Adrenaline Supply Discovered. This gives us 2 more event actions, for a total now of 3. With a dangerous Zeds mob approaching suburbia, Rusty Staub is moved there, and our second action is used for him to fire, using his crossbow-armed ability, which consumes no ammunition. He fires away and causes 2 hits on the Zeds. That destroys the smaller Zeds unit and reduces even more the toxic Zeds. Meanwhile, Deputy Schmidt uses his initiative to fire on the mob advancing on downtown. But his fire is ineffective and no hits are caused. The ammo level, however, decreases now to 4. Savior Corps uses its Field Med Station ability to heal Sheriff Hunt to full strength, and he reappears in town center, ready for action. The infection level goes down to 7, and supplies, however, are now at 2. Now, Hunt's leadership ability is used for the civilians at the mall district to move into suburbia to help Rusty Staub fend off the Zeds coming in that direction. Meanwhile, we use our last event action to move Sheriff Hunt to the mall district. And the player action is used to move Colonel Kingman into town center. From there, he can project his defensive perimeter ability to all 4 tracks. The situation is becoming more desperate as powerful groups of Zeds are nearing the town of Farmingdale from 3 of 4 directions, while supplies and ammo are dwindling. National Guard helicopter strike. First to the 4R phase, and the Raiders advance into East Iraq, which is under chaos, something that they actually like, but there's no Zeds there. And our VIP refugees move 1 space closer to town center, to the infection phase. The infection level is at 7. The die roll is at 10. No infection outbreak for now. No supplies are lost during the eat phase, and now the Zeds move on the suburbs and the highway track. In the suburbs, the toxic Zeds advance once more into suburbia, and this time, Colonel Kingman uses his defensive perimeter ability to successfully push them back from where they came from. No attack by the Zeds for now, but the remaining Zeds in the suburbs advance, and now we have a very powerful Zeds mob facing suburbia. Meanwhile, The Zeds at the university move into Beauville. Now to the highway. The Zeds mob, leading the way, falls upon downtown. Colonel Kingman, who is nearby in town center, again uses his defensive perimeter ability to try to push these Zeds back. And he succeeds once again. The mob retreats to where they started. The remaining Zeds on the highway advance. Pretty soon there will be 2 Zeds mobs, which we will have to contend with downtown. Now, 3 event actions, but first, the helicopter attack must be resolved. And we pick one Zeds unit or Zeds mob. Depending on the die roll, it'll suffer 1, 2, or 3 hits. We select the Super Zeds with brain-powered ability. The roll is a 6. They suffer 3 hits and are reduced now to a strength of 4. And now to our 3 event actions. First, Rusty Staub will use his crossbow-armed ability to execute a gunfire attack on the Zeds mob. He rolls an 11, 3 hits on the Zeds, and the toxic Zeds are wiped out. Meanwhile, Deputy Schmidt uses his initiative to fire once again on the advancing Zeds mob. Roll is a 5, causing 1 hit, reducing one of the Zeds units. The ammo, however, is reduced to 3. An event action is used to advance the VIP refugees 1 space into the campground, and our remaining action is used to move the Rangers closer to the east side. Our player action is used for Rusty Staub to do some foraging in a town space. He rolls a 6, so we receive our customary supply point from Rusty Staub's ability, plus 1 point of ammo. And Sheriff Hunt's leadership ability is wasted on a failed foraging attempt by the civilians at town center. The Savior Corps uses its field medical station ability to further heal the civilians now in suburbia, who are now at a strength of 4, though with a hit. And the supply level decreases to 2, as well as the infection level to 6. Powerful Zeds attacks on the town from 3 different directions have been repulsed. There are no Zeds in the mountains. Those in the forest still present a significant threat. But the Zeds in the suburbs have suffered heavily. And what seems more troublesome are the raiders that are approaching. Tough Zeds. And now the raiders and the refugees move. The raiders advance into the chaotic Farmingdale University. Meanwhile, the Rangers decide to move and enter the east side, and the VIP refugees follow behind, and they're nearing town. Now to the infection phase. The infection level is a 6. The die roll an 8. No outbreak for now. In the eat phase, we lose 1 supply point. It is down now to a meager 1. The Zeds phase, a double move on the mountain track, but first, 1 new Zeds unit appears, and that track's start space. And the unit has a strength of 8, forming a Zeds mob. Now, we place a tough marker on the strongest regular Zeds unit, and that happens to be the just arrived 8 strength Zeds unit. It is now a tough unit. Whenever it suffers a hit, we must roll. On a 1, 2, 3, the hit is erased. Another challenge. The Zeds move on the mountain track. The Zeds mob advances and is now one step away from Lefty's Pass. In the second move on the mountain, this Zeds mob falls upon the village, which is defended by the civilians with a strength of 2. Because of the barricade, the Zeds only have an advantage. However, the Zeds suffer no hits, the civilians 3. They're almost eliminated and must retreat. The villagers turn into refugees and enter the Lucky Strike Mine, and now chaos reigns in Lefty's Pass. 2 more chaos markers, if placed, will end the game. The infection level is now at 7. And now we have 3 event actions. Turning our attention now to the VIP civilians, the first action is used to move them into the east side. We have 2 event actions left, and we use another action, and the VIPs reach town center. They are placed, as all refugees, in the refugee camp. But these are VIP refugees, and they confer certain benefits. Which ones will we choose? To heal all player units to full health. So starting at Lefty's Pass, we flip El Toro Loco and the civilians and remove their hits, and they're now at full strength. Turning our attention now to the east side, the Rangers remove their sole hit. And the civilian unit in town center is also now at full strength, even though it has a strength of 2. In suburbia, the civilians remove their sole hit. And in the hospital, both the fire department auxiliaries and the civilian unit there are now at full strength, and they are ready for action at town center. With all our heroes, civilian and heroic civilian units at full strength, we are ready to take on the Zeds. Rusty Staub executes a gunfire attack against the Brain Super Zeds, inflicting 1 hit. No supplies are lost because of his special ability. We use our player action for Staub to forage for supplies, and he rolls a 4, so 2 supply points are received. They were sorely needed. Next, Deputy Schmidt uses his initiative to fire once more on the advancing Zeds mob. The roll is a 12, 3 hits, wiping out one of the Zeds units. Ammo level is now at 3. Sheriff Hunt uses his leadership ability to activate the fire department auxiliaries, who now move into the mall district. Their fire hose ability will come in handy there. As our units gather strength, hope appears for the first time on the faces of the people of Farmingdale. This war is far from over. The Zeds remain powerful in the forest, and a new Zeds threat is coming from the mountain pass. They have overrun Lefty's Pass and are about to take the Lucky Strike Mine, our principal source of ammo. Stay tuned for the next episode of Dawn of the Zeds Apocalypse Level.